Section 4.2 is on simplifying expressions. The coefficient of a variable term is the number that's being multiplied by the variable. For example, if you have a term like 3x, the coefficient is 3. If your term is a is the same thing as 1 times a, so the coefficient is 1. If you have a term like 5x squared, the coefficient is 5, and so on. Like terms are either constant terms or terms that have the same variable. That variable must also have the same exponent. So for example, 4x is like negative 6x, 4ab is like 27ab, and 5v squared is like 52v squared. If terms are not like, we say that they are unlike. For example, 4x is unlike 4y, and 4x is unlike 4x squared. We can only combine, using addition or subtraction, like terms. 3x plus 5, those are both x terms, they're like terms. If you've got 3 of x something and 5 of something, it's going to add to 8 of something. So 3x plus 5x is 8x. Can combine with addition or subtraction. So 4x minus x, remembering that x is 1x. 4x minus 1x is 3x. And in the next one, we've got some k squared terms and some k terms. So for my k squared terms, I have 8k squared plus 6k squared, so I'm going to get 14k squared. And for the k terms, 2 minus 3 is negative 1k. I don't need to write the 1, I can just write negative k. And the last one, 2/7 x minus 5/7 x. Subtract those fractions and you'll get negative 3/7 x. So we have our like terms combined. Let's look at a couple examples here where we want to simplify each expression combining like terms. In the first one, note that there are some x's, some y's, and some plain numbers. So let's group those. The x's, we have 3x and 2x, that's going to give us 5x. Negative 4y and negative 6y will give us negative 10y. And plus 5's all alone, nothing to combine that with, there are no other constants. In the next one, I'm going to need to use the distributive property. I've got negative 4 times 2w for negative 8w, negative 4 times negative 5 for positive 20, and then my plus 3 on the end. Now combine like terms. There are no other w terms, so negative 8w stays, and 20 plus 3 is 23. Let's keep going with the distributive property here. I start with 6. And then minus 3 times 4x is going to be negative 12x. Negative 3 times positive 9 will be positive 27. Combine my like terms. My like terms are going to be 6 and 27. There is no term like the 12x. We're going to put that one first because it has the x in it. So negative 12x plus 33. Let's look at part D. Negative 7 minus the quantity 8t minus 1. If I distribute that negative or negative 1, you can imagine that there's a negative 1 right here. That negative times 8t is going to make the 8t negative, and the negative times the negative 1 will make that a positive 1. The only variable term is negative 8t. We'll put that first, and our constants are going to add up to negative 6. In part E, we've got 2 distributes to do. So the first one, 2 times x is 2x, plus 2 times 3 is 6. Then we have minus 4 times 5 is 20x, and negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. When I combine my like terms, we'll do our x's first. 2x minus 20x will be negative 18x, and 6 plus 8 is 14. Part F, 5 times 4x is 20x, minus 5 times 2y. 5 times negative 2y gives us negative 8y. Distributing negative through the next parenthesis gives us negative 8x. Two negatives make that plus 3y, and negative and positive make that negative 1. Let's go x's first. When I have two variables, we'll go in alphabetical order. So 20 minus 8 gives us 12x, negative 8y plus 3y, negative 5y, and the only constant is minus 1, so we'll leave that on the end. In example 3, we want to translate the English phrase into a mathematical expression and then simplify. So we start with 7 times the sum of a number and 2. So I have 7 times, now it's going to be 7 times an entire sum, so I'm going to immediately start parentheses. I want 7 times a quantity that's going to be a sum, and that quantity that is a sum is a sum of 2 and a number. Now let's go ahead and simplify that. To simplify that, we're going to have 7 times 2 is 14, plus 7 times x is 7x. And let's get that written in the right order. We want 7x plus 14. For the next one, twice the number minus negative 3 times the sum of the number and 7. So twice the number, starting off with 2x, minus negative 3 times the sum. So again, I want to take negative 3 times an entire sum, so I need to have parentheses there to enclose the sum, and it's the sum of a number and 7. Alright, so a couple of things we can do to simplify. First of all, minus a negative is going to make that positive. So we can say 2x plus 3 times the sum of a number and 7. Now we can do our distribute. So our distribute is going to give us 2x plus 3x plus 3 times 7 is 21. And finally, add our like terms, we'll have 5x plus 21. In the next one, we're going to want to translate the phrase from math to English. So we're going to write an English phrase here. If I read this as it reads in math, I would say 6 times the sum of a number and 4. Remembering that the two parts of the multiplication are 6 and the sum. So the sum, the things that are going to be in the parentheses, are the number and 4. And part B, I start with x, a number, minus 4 times the difference. So we'll have 4 times the difference of a number and 2. And that's it for this section.